Hey everyone, welcome. You know that epic soundtrack in your favorite video game? Or that one song on TikTok you literally can't get out of your head? Well, it's not magic, it's actually a secret code, one that's been around for centuries. And today, we're gonna crack it. This is your ultimate cheat sheet to understanding music.
So, picture this. You come up with this awesome melody in your head. It's a total banger. But now what? How do you actually save it before it just vanishes? Sure, you could hum it into your phone, but how do you tell someone exactly how to play it? With all the right notes, the right rhythm, everything. That's the big problem we're going to solve. All right, let's start at the very beginning. Think of this as version 1.0 of writing music. This is the origin story, the tutorial level of how we first figured out how to get those amazing ideas out of our heads and onto paper. For a long time, there was no way to write music down. It was all passed along by memory, kind of like a meme or a story you'd tell your friends. But you know how that goes, right? It's like a game of telephone. By the time it gets to the 10th person, the original idea is completely warped or even forgotten. Not ideal. So the first real attempt to fix this was something called neumes. And honestly, you can think of them as the world's first music emojis. They were just these little squiggles and dots above the words that gave you a general vibe. Like, hey, the tune goes up here, or it goes down here. But they didn't tell you exactly what note to sing or for how long. It was more of a hint than an instruction manual. So yeah, that system definitely needed a serious upgrade. Think of it like a bunch of patch updates for a video game. Back in the 9th century, you just had these neumes floating around. Then, in the 10th century, someone had the bright idea to add a single red line for the note F, just to give people a landmark. Then a monk named Guido of Arezzo came along and introduced a game-changing 4-line staff. And by the 13th century, we finally landed on the 5-line staff we use today. The user interface just kept getting better and better. Okay, so we've got our 5-line grid. It's set up. Now, how do we actually read the thing? It's time to learn the basic rules of the game. First up is pitch, and that's really just a fancy word for how high or low a sound is. The staff is basically the level map for the song. If a note is on a high line, it's a high sound. If it's on a low line, you guessed it, it's a low sound. It's a visual guide to the melody. Super simple. But wait, how do you know where to start on this map? That's where the clef comes in. A clef is that big, fancy symbol at the very beginning of the music, and it's basically the "you are here" marker on the map. The two you'll see most are the treble clef, for high-pitched stuff like a violin or flute, and the bass clef, for low-pitched instruments like a tuba or a bass guitar. It locks everything in place, so everyone's on the same page. Okay, so knowing which notes to play is only half the battle. Music is also about when you play them. That brings us to rhythm. It's the heartbeat of the music, and yeah, we needed a way to write that down too. The way we write rhythm is actually super logical. It's all just simple fractions. You start with a whole note. That's the longest one. If you cut that in half, you get 2 half notes. Cut a half note in half, and you get 2 quarter notes, which is usually 1 beat, and it just keeps dividing from there. Each different shape tells the musician exactly how long to hold that note. See? Easy. And to keep all of this organized so it doesn't turn into total chaos, we have the time signature. It looks like a fraction at the beginning of the song, and it sets the rules for the rhythm. The top number tells you how many beats are in each little box of music. The bottom one tells you what kind of note gets 1 beat. You've definitely felt this before. Most songs you hear are in 4/4 time, that steady 1, 2, 3, 4 beat that's super easy to clap to. It's like the traffic light that keeps the whole band in sync. All right, so we've got the notes and we've got the timing. That's the base game. But now it's time for the expansion pack, the DLC. This is the stuff that adds all the emotion, the mood, and the personality that makes music so cool. First up, key signatures. You know those little hashtag symbols and Bs at the beginning of the staff? Well, those act like a filter for the entire song. They tell you to make certain notes a little higher or a little lower for the whole piece. And that one simple change can completely switch the mood from, say, super happy and bright to something dark and mysterious. Next, we've got dynamics. This is basically the volume slider. A little P tells the musician to play softly or piano. An F tells them to play loud or forte. This is how composers write emotion right into the music, telling you exactly when to get quiet and intense and when to just let it rip and be as loud as possible. Now, this system is ancient, but the tools we use to write it down have gone through a massive tech evolution. So let's look at the tech tree of music notation, from how it started with monks and ink to where we are now with producers and laptops. I mean, think about it. Writing music in the past was like playing a game in survival mode. It was slow, it was all done by hand, and one little mistake could mess up the whole thing. But today, we're playing in creative mode. With music software, it's instant, it's perfect, and you can email your new song to someone on the other side of the planet in 2 seconds. And yeah, this has totally changed how music gets made. Composers can write for a huge orchestra and instantly hear a computer play it back. Musicians are reading music off of tablets on stage instead of paper. We even have AI that's starting to help compose and arrange music. It's just faster and way more powerful than ever. But here's what's absolutely wild. The core language, it's the same. The staff, the notes, the clefs, all those basic symbols we've been talking about, they're hundreds of years old. The system was just so good, so well designed that even with all our incredible technology, we haven't found a reason to replace it. We just built on top of it. So, if you're going to take one thing away from all this, here it is. Musical notation is a universal language that started as simple memory aids and grew into a precise code that lets musicians communicate with each other across hundreds of years. So this ancient code is now being written with AI and shared on tablets. The language is the same, but our tools just keep getting crazier. So it makes you wonder, right? What do you think is next? What's going to be the next big patch update for the language of music? Let me know what you think. Thanks for tuning in.